Hachette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with a elemental reading video. This is a look back at my November 2018 and the elemental cards I had drawn and how I saw them fit into my life in applesauce. Because just as I sat down to film this video, I started getting hungry. So bear with me. It's a small cup. Anyway, so for November 2018, as usual, I picked 4 cards, one for each of the 4 Western elements. And I gave you a preview of them in the October video, and now we'll go over them and then look at the December cards really quick. So, first for the element of air, I've got this guy, the Prince of Wands, and oddly enough, it's a very fiery card. A fiery looking card anyway. Let me try to get you guys closer. There we go. Let me scooch over. I think for these videos, the left side is better. So there's our guy in a chariot drawn by a lion, and his wand is basically like this giant staff with a bird head, I believe. I'm gonna go with Phoenix because of the whole fiery aspect of the entire card. And he's got this, I believe, owl, but it could be an eagle flying overhead, and a sort of chest plate plaque thing on his chest. But yeah, like I said, the line is drawing the chariot, but it's not like he's got it in captivity. The reins are just kind of looped around his wrist very loosely. So it's more like a partnership, like the lion agreed to this. And for the element of air, as far as what area of life that covers, that's, to me, that's mentally the mind, thoughts, also communication and travel, and honestly, this month of November has been a lot of traveling, a lot of communication, just necessarily. I was asked in October to do a favor, and that favor wound up spreading into covering more time than originally planned, which is okay. This is not a complaint, but just because of everything, I had to travel across the city back and forth a lot, particularly this last week of November. Oh my goodness. And a lot in December. Like, I'm filming this early December, but I'm still doing it. And just because a lot of communication was necessary back and forth, I was also still continuing in this good headspace that I've been for the past couple of months. Self-esteem, self-awareness, communication with self and with my spirit guides has been going very good. There's just been a very creative mindset and a can-do attitude, and it manifests into actual creation physically and communicating more. November I did NaBloPoMo, National Blog Posting Month. You can find a link to my blog in the description down below. And National Blog Posting Month is posting 1 blog post every single day for the month of November. If going by that I did not complete it, but I posted a lot that I wanted to, and I wrote every single day for the month. So I've got blog posts scheduled for next year that are ready to go because the juices were flowing mentally. I was able to put pen to paper and fingers to keyboard and put out some really great stuff, and then create some awesome images to go with that, those blog posts. So I'm just really happy with the creations that happened. My working with my creativity, intuition, and inspiration has just been like that. And back to travel real quick. Like I said, I've been traveling a lot just within the city, and it was good. I don't think I really ran into too many travel issues, which I'm grateful for, because last year and the year before, it was insane, and that was a big reason why I quit my previous job, because travel was killing me. But I was doing similar travel this month in November and not having many issues. So yay for that. Yay for communicating a lot with my followers on my blog, with Instagram and YouTube. As you guys know, I've had more YouTube videos out this month than ever before, and December is going to continue that. You're probably already seeing those. So I have just been go, 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 and like the system from inspiration to creativity to creation and putting it out there and sharing has been working really well, like a well-oiled machine. And then planning for the future to continue that to an extent has been going well. Just having the mental awareness of that I've done all of this stuff, and I can do and will continue to do, helps continue the cycle, bolster my confidence and self-esteem, make me feel like, you know, I can do this, I can keep going, I can be in charge of my business and get inspiration and follow through on it. And that is just something that makes me immensely happy, and rah rah, yay yay, I'm my own cheerleader, as our family. So, I'm followers. So just thank you guys for watching my videos and buying from me. I'll get to that in a second. And reading my blog post. Shipping orders has gone absolutely amazingly well. I've shipped several times overseas this month, and I actually have several follow-up orders because shipping has gone so well. And of course, I already know my products are great. I put my heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears into these things, and want only for them to find a good home and for the people who use them to enjoy them. And that I know already that they do. It's been the shipping and handling thing that I've been a little hesitant about, and the promotion. So this site and this channel on YouTube, my blog, you know, sharing on social media, communicating what I have and letting people know it's there for them has been great this month. There's been a fire under my ass, and not in a bad way. So that's my heir, my Prince of Wands. Next, fire. I've got the King of Pentacles, or I had the King of Pentacles for this month. You can see this guy, well-fed. He's got a crown basically of his factories on his head, and he's well dressed, probably one of the best dressed figures in this tarot deck, the Deviant Moon tarot deck, and he's holding a giant pentacle, just looking dapper and like a king. And that's very interesting. So for fire, I think it's spirituality, but also love, blood, lust, passions, feelings to an extent, maybe like surface feelings, and creation, the actual act of creation and just acting. And so this ties in very well with air. So with air, it was more focused on the thought process, the intuition, the inspiration, whereas fire is more about the act of creation, manifesting these things into being. And yeah, I got things done. I did what I needed to do. I made a significant amount of money and know that I will be making some more. The King of Pentacles just sitting there letting me know that, you know, being on top of things, I can have stability, I can create my own empire, I can continue to grow the empire that I've created, and it's another thing of confidence, but this is confidence with experience. The Prince of Wands is more like a young guy who thinks he knows, and so that kind of confidence of youth in a way, not thinking, just doing. And this guy, the King of Pentacles, is more like, I have experience and I have done a lot and it has paid off, and I feel that. I think also this guy kind of represents my father in particular this month, who we hang out a lot and we work together a lot during the day. I kind of support him in some of the stuff he does, usually just by sitting in the car so it doesn't get towed. But however I can, he's just doing really well himself, and as a father figure, as someone to look up to, he's been really a positive, inspiring presence this month. So thank you, Daddy. Next, we have the element of water, and this is the Llewellyn deck, and I've got, there we go, the Fool, who is Peredur. And as I usually do with these decks, let me just grab the book. So with this particular deck, the Llewellyn deck is, I mentioned before, based on the Welsh mythology and folklore, specifically the major arcana cards. So the Fool, and just as you can see, like, it's a young guy, because it's like a watercolor painting, and on a white horse. He's jumping over a waterfall, river thing with his dog as well, and they're just on the beginning of an adventure. And he's dressed warmly, he's got a bundle all over his shoulders, and he's just running off without looking back. And just really quickly, I'll read you what Peredur, who is represented in this painting. Peredur is the seventh son of Evroc, and in Welsh tradition, the original hero of the Grail quest. Some will recognize the character as Percival, pure fool in Welsh, a knight of the Round Table in the Arthurian legend. In the Mabinogion, we are given an early view of the character and a raw version of the Grail quest. Peredur appears as a more organic knight, and while the quest is rich with mysteries surrounding the Grail, it is driven by the archaic motive to avenge the death of a cousin whose head lies on a platter. Peredur's journey from fool to exalted hero and Grail Guardian is long, imaginative, and humorous, with many adventures. It is also made sublime with otherworldly passages that form the Grail tradition. Here we join him for his early fool days. And so, in this card, Peredur is the fool. He's a young guy. He doesn't know much yet. A few things, like Peredur grew up without his 6 brothers and fathers, all of whom had all died in dangerous knightly pursuits. His mother, thinking to save him from the same fate, raised Peredur in a remote part of Wales, far from the lure of knighthood. His company was restricted to spiritless men and women, and he spent much of his time wandering the woods throwing sticks and staves. He was athletic, with speed enough to herd hinds, which he once drove home to his mother, thinking them goats who had lost their horns in the wild. He suffered from arrested development in his sheltered upbringing. He was thrilled to see a small band of knights travel through the woods one day. And when he asked his mom what they were, she told him they were angels. However, he later caught up with them, one being Owen, who you know from Arthurian legend, and he asked him tons of questions, and Owen said they're knights and answered all of them. And so after that, Peredur went back home, confronted his mother, and then ran off to become a knight. And he didn't know anything about it. He traveled on his own in the forest, where he didn't know anything. He went to King Arthur's court, and he learned to be a knight from there, and he became one of their best knights. But this is like the beginning. He was a young guy, lots of energy, very sheltered, didn't know much about the world, and ran off as soon as the first exciting thing happened. And I got this card for my water. And water, the water element for me represents the unknown, but also emotions, like those deep inside of you, the shadow aspects of yourself, and how you feel about things, how you express those feelings. And for November, I got the Fool. I'm okay with that. I'm very happy with that. The Fool, like, the word has connotations in modern days as being stupid or silly, and I mean, to an extent this does too, but for me, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like November was like a new beginning, which again makes sense because my birthday is November 1st, so you know. And then for me as a witch, my religion, my spirituality, like October 31st is Samhain, and it's kind of like the end of one year and the beginning of another. So literally my life began on November 1st, and so every November 1st it's a new beginning, and that's literally what this month felt like for me. I felt renewed, ready to tackle a lot, ready to try so many things, and not be held back by old baggage. And not brand spanking new. It's not like I brought nothing from the last 33 years of my life, but now beginning year 34. Yes, 34. I thought I miscounted for a second. Beginning year 34, I'm just like, yeah. So, and it goes very well with the other two cards. Like, this was the underlying feeling that got me to work so well with my inspiration to communicate with people more so that I have in a while, to get so much done for myself or my business. This fresh start, this new me feeling is what was underlying it all. So that was my water card. And last but not least, the oracle card. It's for the element of earth. I've got, oh, that gnome. So the element of earth is grounding. It's the physical. It's earthly things. Stability. It's money and food and, you know, my physical space, physical body. And oh, that gnome. Well, first of all, before I get into details about this guy specifically, first, this is from the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and gnomes are generally associated with the element of earth, and I think they are considered like an elemental spirit for earth, the official, unofficial, and elemental spirit. So that was great, and this is super like earthy colors, and I mean this deck in general has very earthy colors, so that's why I like associated with the element of earth. But this card definitely like takes it to the next level, in my opinion. That's just me. So now this guy specifically, he's just sitting here like annoyed with life, kind of like, what is going on, but also kind of smirking, like looking at you like, what are you doing? Why are you not getting stuff done? But he's planted there. His beard is grown while he's sitting there. And to give you guys a taste, it says he's a trickster, creative chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits, and patterns. So he exists in every world. He comes to us wearing our own face to fool us into thinking his ideas are our own. He brings chaotic, creative chaos into our lives. He encourages us to fall on our faces so that we get a different point of view, looking up past the mud-smeared noses. That gnome is unreliable and sometimes encourages drunkenness. He certainly doesn't always do what we expect. As for drunkenness, in vino veritas, in wine there is truth. There are better ways of doing this. When he appears, it is breakthrough time. And all too often, the first step in breakthrough feels just like a breakdown. The gnome tells us wild and wonderful long-winded stories. He is full of knowledge, and he isn't known for his patience. In a nutshell, which is where he claims to belong, his job is to help us get lost from our comfortable ruts so that we will explore wonderful, exciting, and strange new paths. He is a good friend of Raven. Time to leap into the air, letting the earth run beneath you and discover where you come down again. In a reading, the presence of that gnome tells us that the forces of chaos are at work. Things may not be as they seem, and this may very well be a good thing. Think amazing new thoughts. So, oh, that gnome. I don't know that okay. I was gonna say, I don't think that things are chaotic, but they were. They were absolutely in fucking insane this month. But I just kept telling myself I could do it. It's okay. I got this. I have everything I need, and if I don't, I can get it. And that is how this month worked. I think a year ago, I would have broken down crying several times this month and not gotten as much accomplished because I would have felt overwhelmed by all of the things. I got random orders at times. I got stuff that orders for things I didn't have that I had run out of. Some stuff that I wasn't expecting that are not usually popular this time of year. Again, I told you I did a favor for a friend that turned out to be 6 to 8 weeks long rather than 2, and I went with it. Every week was a different schedule. Every day was a different schedule. I got my tooth pulled, guys, because I randomly got an infection underneath it that got so bad that it had to be pulled. I've never had any problems with my teeth or with my body ever in my life, so that was an adventure, and I just went with it. Had to see a brand new dentist and then go for dental surgery. That was a lot. And I got it done, and I'm kind of really proud of myself. I just went with it. There were times I questioned what I was doing and should I be focusing on this, that, and the other. And yeah, I did my self-care when I felt I needed it. And F the rest of the world. And throughout the entire month, I just felt really stable, which is, if you've watched the last couple of Elemental videos, not something that has been this strong in my life over the past at least 5 or 6 years. So I'm incredibly happy with the chaos and that I got through it and that it worked out so well. So that was my gnome, my element of earth, the chaos that brought me stability. Oh, that gnome. This guy. Like, look at you. It says, like, he reflects what's in you and, like, making it seem like his ideas were originally yours. And it's just kind of like, duh, Lachette, you had this. Really? You thought it was going to be too much? Because things just kept coming up randomly, but you handled it all, and that's, like, you know you can, because this is not the first time in life. So, on that note, those were my cards for November. Let's give you guys a quick glimpse, preview of my cards for December. Now for the element of air, again with the Thoth Tarot, I have the 3 of Wands, or works, here. The keyword on this is works, you can see that. And then the element of fire, from the Deviant Moon Tarot, I have the King of Wands. Sorry if you see my finger, I'm trying to get it to focus on the card. And I always like this King of Wands card. It's very heartwarming. For the element of water, from the Llewellyn Tarot deck, I have the Priestess. There she is, another gorgeous card. And since it is Major Arcana, this is Caradwyn, represented here. And last but not least, for the element of earth, from the Fairies Oracle, I've got Neris. Is it Neris or Nellis? Hold on. Nellis, sorry. I've got Nellis the Alchemist here. And she is probably the most fairy looking of this deck I've shown this entire year. But, so, yeah, alchemy. We'll see. That is my glimpse ahead, my preview of my December cards. I will see you guys in January for the December Elemental review and the January preview. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my next video will be up in a couple of days for either Witchathon or my 2018 review wrap up. I will be going over, because I have, as well as these Elemental monthly cards, I have ones just for the year. So we'll be going over my 4 cards of the year. If you remember, I did talk about them in my 2018 energy reading video, which I will link above and below, or one or the other, and just so you can refresh yourselves about that. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.